Hey guys, welcome to another Roundtable with Redfin discussion. Marcia and I love these meetings. We have Sloan in Hawaii and Joy in Washington State. Hi, ladies. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning.
Pleasure
Aloha.
to be here.
Aloha to you too.
Aloha.
Yeah, our two experts, you guys always offer great advice for our clients and people on our YouTube channel, and they so appreciate that. We get good feedback. I want you to know on that. Marcia, what is our question for today that people want to know about?
Okay, well, here it is, John. In Hawaii, nearly 90% of first-time home buyers rely on family assistance to afford home ownership. Boy, isn't that the truth. Given that affordability varies widely by region, we're curious, how are first-time home buyers managing in your local market? Are you seeing the same trends? Well, one of us, our experts, is in Hawaii, so
That's
Joy,
good. We get to
what is
contrast.
the trend in your neighborhood?
I
Me?
think that's for you, Joy. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm like dreaming. Yeah, well, actually, I don't see that many like high percentage about like family funds into help with the first-time home buyers. I mean, we might see co-signers, but mostly people can qualify the mortgage themselves. Like, you got so many high-tech people here, they might have stocks that they can just
Yeah.
convert it.
Oh,
So
what is your
that's
average price point, Joy?
here, I mean, South Snohomish County, North King County. I'll probably say average 600, 800, or even $1 million.
But you have the big problem of having all those high income tech people.
Not really. I mean, they can just like qualify and buy the houses they qualify by themselves. Like, they were like targeting 900, later realize, well, they can only afford 600, then, we'll just downgrade to the price point. So yeah, I really see the family chipping the first time home buying process for them. So yeah.
Yeah, I think Joy's right. We do have a lot of high-tech firms. We have Google, we have Amazon, we have Microsoft. Of course, Microsoft, who started the whole thing up here, and more that I'm not even saying right now. And you get two high-income wage earners that are married and they're buying their first home, and their first home is $980,000, and they can afford it, because they
Yeah.
just make the income. We do have, Joy and I occasionally bump into this, clients that don't fit that profile, right? They're blue collar, hardworking kind of people, and it is more difficult. And so, but I think we have maybe a little more latitude, excuse me, that they can go out of area, right? Joy, if you can't afford it in Snohomish County, and King County, which are the two high priced counties, they can go north, or they can go maybe a little bit to the east, and they'll find lower priced homes. Is that true, Joy? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I would advise them like, instead of like 3 bed, 2 bath, like, can you a 3 bed, 2 bath houses, then, if you cannot afford it, can you do a townhouse or even like a condo, right? I mean, it's a first home, so you don't really have to be like, a goal touchdown, like, the dream home, but it's so unreachable. I just tell them, hey, why not just invest in yourself? It's a starter home. You can just move in 5 years. You got equity on your condo or townhouses, then you can jump into the next level. You don't have to really have to, touch down the first round around, right? So yeah, that's my advice to them.
And Sloan, what about
Sloan,
you? Sorry,
yeah, how does
John.
Hawaii look compare?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that question was just, right on spot. A lot of first-time home buyers here in Hawaii are getting help and assistance from family, whether that's parents or, sister and brother also going on with them to qualify. That's very, very common. And I would say it's such an interesting conversation because there's not a lot of options in Hawaii as far as location goes and
Yeah.
price point. So, yeah, it's difficult. buyers really do need that assistance. First time home buyers, because the average single family home here is, over $1 million now. And that's just on Oahu. On Kauai, it's actually more. And then now with the rising cost of homeowner association dues that we're seeing across the board, we're just clients are, buyers are just really trying to outweigh their options, and they definitely need gift funds. Yeah.
I wonder if you have manufactured home in Hawaii.
No, no, we don't have like mobile home communities.
Mm-hmm. No?
No.
Oh, wow.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah, there are no mobile home communities here. Yeah, it's land is very scarce and very expensive. So mobile home communities probably wouldn't, investors don't see the
Value of it.
right. Yeah, I would assume
see.
that's why we don't have that here, outside of
Gotcha.
very strict regulations. But yeah, I did sell real estate in Washington State. That's where I first started in 2006. And I remember, and I lived there too. So we lived in a little town called DuPont. And we were renting. I remember D.R. Horton just started development in the town. And being a young girl from Hawaii, I was in my 20s then, and we walked through these model homes. And I remember then seeing the price. There was, I think their largest model at the time was, this was 20 years ago. Can you believe that?
Oh my gosh.
My daughter was like just a baby in my arms. She's 19 years old now. Anyways, I remember walking through their largest model. This was in right outside of Fort Lewis. And it was like $350,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, even back then, oh my gosh, we could buy a house. Because in Hawaii, that's back then, and even now, that's just it's far from an option for first time home buyers. Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting, but I'm really glad that is an opportunity, like that is something and an opportunity that buyers can do. Just to kind of bring this back, Marcia and I were just working with a client, and I think one of the things that's really important is setting first time home buyers up for success. So speaking to them now, as opposed to, we found a house, we want to make an offer, because of gift funds. And a lot of people don't understand that if you have cash under, you've been saving cash, or, mom and dad or sister, or like where these funds are coming from have to be allocated for and accounted for. And so I don't know. Yeah. What would some of your tips be for these cash funds or gift funds that come from family members?
Well, normally I will, John and I will, together, like kind of poke through where the financing, do they have like down payment all by themselves, like in the savings account? If they say, well, no, my mom in England is going to, chip in 100K, or, my parents in China is going to help us with the buying, and we'll just tell them, hey, please don't do anything. Don't even ask them to wire the money into your account now. Okay. So we'll let you know when's the right time that they can just wire the money to the escrow account. If they wire to your account, it's going to mess up, and underwriter is going to be like freaking out, and there will be some issues with the loan to be approved in the end, right? Yeah. So we kind of had to set up that expectation.
I guess simply put, like Marcia and John, why is that? Like, if I'm a first time home buyer, I got $5,000 in cash I've been saving, and then maybe my sister or maybe my auntie is going to give me like $50,000, and then maybe I have a side hustle, and that's where my $5,000 came from. And then we've done, Marsha, this is normal, right? Like, I don't know if it's just a Hawaii thing and we just need to play this video for Hawaii people, but like, we got cash coming out of the woodwork. And can I bring, you don't even know how many times I've gotten the question, can I bring $3,000 to escrow in cash? I'm like, Oh, we like to say cash is king, but why is cash not a good way to hold our money when we're preparing to buy a house? Could you
Well,
help our people?
the underwriter in almost all loan scenarios, government and conventional, we need to know where the money comes from. Partly because there's money laundering that happens with real estate guys, which is really a clever way to do it. And one of the things we have to be careful of is that there isn't money laundering. So we want to know where the funds come from, and there are certain appropriate places they can come from. And as you've indicated, they can come from a relative, typically for the down payment, but we need to make sure they come from the relative. They can come from you selling an asset, and there's proper ways to do that and document that. They can come from your IRS refund. They can come from your pay. They can come from that. They cannot come from cash going to escrow because we don't know where the funds are coming from. And there's a couple problems with that. And one is the money laundering thing, but also you could have got a loan from Joe and you might have to pay Joe back, and that impacts the debt to income ratio, right? Or even or something of that nature. So we want to be careful that we don't get in a situation where you can't afford the home, and we want to know where the funds come from in all sides of the transaction. Now, it's not that difficult, though. There are ways to make it fairly easy for people when they have cash to be able to get it into circulation in the right manner here so that it doesn't delay things. And we can chat through first-time home buyers and whomever, a second-time home buyer, that we have same situation with people that have, well, I got this extra $10,000 I've been saving in my bank, in my safe, in my house. I'd like to use that, right? And you may have to delay. There are other ways that you can potentially make it work, however. What would you add to that, Marcia?
Well, I would say there's this rule in our industry, it's called the red flags rule. And really, this comes down to, the federal government, lenders have to report, money, where money's coming from. And so this comes from the federal government, that we have to be able to source all monies. We have to know where it's coming from, for the very reason, money laundering. We got to make sure our clients are not terrorists and that kind of thing. I always make a joke of it. But, if you've got cash under the mattress, then my counsel to people, like John said, is to delay, and let's get this money into your bank account and get it seasoned for 2 months, so that therefore we can use it, because we're not going to see this big deposit going into your bank account. So.
And keep in mind, if you get funds from a relative as a gift for the down payment, that is in most cases quite acceptable. If the relative wires the funds directly to escrow, then all we're going to verify typically is that the funds came out of their account, and there's a wire that shows that it came out of their account. There's no seasoning required there, because we're not going to get bank statements to double check it. So that's helpful for, mom and dad who don't want to give us a bank statement to show that they really do have the money and all of that, right? But if mom and dad give you the money and send it to your account, then the rules are all off. Okay, then we're going to double check where the funds came from, and we need bank statements and stuff like that. And the seasoning rule that Marcia just chatted about applies. So you want to be careful how you do it. Okay. Any other thoughts for first-time home buyers that we should share?
Well, I think there's some government programs that the first-time home buyer can dip into, like down payment assistance
Good job,
programs,
Joy. Yeah.
right? Not only the FHA, and also recently I've heard FHA now limit to the applicants that's either the green card or the citizen. Maybe
You're right.
somebody is holding the work visa, they cannot use the FHA anymore. So,
That's a new ruling. You're absolutely correct, Joy.
that's right? Yeah, John. Okay. Yeah. So I just want to kind of, give everybody heads up, and, talk to your lender. I think John and Marsha is very experienced. So just talk to them. They will give you ideas about any programs that will, fit the best of your interests. So, yeah.
Yep. Joy, anything else? Excuse me, Sloan, anything else you want to add to the closing of our chat?
I would just say that it's now is just one of the best times to buy. I'm really seeing that. I just took an inventory of the last 6 purchase contracts that I wrote, the last 6 offers. All but one had a seller credit of $10,000 or more. And that's because listings have been on the market. Joy's nodding her head. We know listings have been on the market for a lot longer. We had a crazy election period that lasted longer, the economic times, right? Buyers, and I mean, I'm coming from this world that we used to live in COVID, where like people were overbidding on houses for $150,000, right? And just really seeing this opportunity for buyers to negotiate, to get the things that they want. Obviously, supply and demand is still at play, but it's a great time to buy. And I would just say, if you're scared, talk with qualified people. You know, take it one step at a time. But I'm really seeing buyers win, and it's pretty cool to see that, especially first time home buyers that we're talking about this. You know, people are accepting offers that just maybe 6, 7, 8 months ago they wouldn't have. Contingent offers, you know, offers with loans that are maybe riskier than what we were seeing before, you know. And so yeah, I just say get qualified, prepare, because you can be a homeowner too. Yeah.
So Sloan's point's really good about seller contribution, guys. There are rules around that. The different loan programs will allow for a different amount, different percentages of the purchase price. That's how we measure that, from the seller to give to the buyer to cover closing costs and reserves and all of that. So you can effectively get into a home with just the down payment. The seller can oftentimes pay all of the closing costs. You need to be careful which loan program and all of that, because there are different guidelines and different programs. But your point's really valid, Sloan. So talk to your lender, whoever you're chatting with, talk to your real estate agent, and see if you can negotiate. That has to be negotiated right up front with the seller when you make the offer. But it can really reduce your cash to close by a chunk if you don't have to pay closing costs, and which includes points and buying the rate down and all that kind of stuff. Good point. Marcia, any closeout thoughts?
Well, I think those are good points all around, and I agree it's a great time to buy, because if you wait for, I know rates are higher than anybody wants, but if you wait for them to drop, there's going to be those bidding wars that Sloan was talking about. So you know, if you can get out there and find something that you can afford, I totally support that. Why wait? And there'll hopefully be a refinance opportunity down the road.
There you go.
Yep.
Ladies, all of you, thanks for being with us today on the Redfin Roundtable. We always appreciate it when you guys show up and with great advice too. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
If you want to
guys.
get a hold of anybody, guys, on our YouTube channel, their contact information is going to be on the screen. We want you to like the video, thumbs up all the way around, and enjoy your day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.